If you want to see a show that combines daring feats of strength and thrilling acrobatics, we have the place for you. Quidam, a traveling version of the Cirque du Soleil show, is making its way across the country. And this group of highly trained athletes is pushing the limits of what the human body can do. Quidam is a show that will inspire, intrigue, and amaze you. Even if you've seen a Cirque show before, you'll still want to see this one. Because as Jessica Leboeuf tells us, if you've seen one Cirque show, you have not seen them all.
Every single show will create a different world to go into. So it's always a crazy journey with eccentric characters, but there's always a very strong storyline to guide you.
Jessica Leboeuf is the spokesperson for Quidam.
Quidam actually means anonymous passerby. I could see you for 13 years passing by on the street every day, but until I say, hi, my name is Mark, you know, this is my family, these are my fears, these are my joys, we remain anonymous, and that's what Quidam represents.
Mark Ward is John, the ringmaster and principal character who leads you through this amazing journey. In his previous life, he performed classical ballet.
There's a lot of emotion in Quidam, and it's probably the thing I love most about the show.
Quidam, this one is more like Alice in Wonderland, like more dark at some places. Quidam it's the one that is closest to the dream, actually. When you get into the imagination world by yourself and then you decide that there is no limit, that's basically what you're going to see in this show.
Quidam is the most human show from Cirque du Soleil, so we deal with human characters. We take you to the fantasy world, of course, but through human eyes.
Mark has been playing this role for 14 years. So how does he keep it fresh? Well, that's partly Georgia Stevenson's job. She's the show's assistant artistic director, and as such, she works very closely with the artists every single day.
Giving them feedback, doing what we can to keep them inspired, keep them motivated, keep them performing at their best.
Georgia is seventh-generation circus. Both her mother and father were circus performers.
It's a really inspiring environment to work in. Everyone is so good at what they do, and it keeps you on your toes. You know, there's no time to be complacent.
But communicating with everyone can be a bit of a challenge sometimes.
Oh, on tour here, we've got, I think, over 20 different countries represented. So there's a lot of sign language that we use. There's a lot of universal terms that everyone comes to understand. It's beautiful because sometimes you see people communicating with each other in their second or third language.
The language barrier is one of the easiest issues to overcome. Just putting the show together takes an amazing amount of work.
Well, just to set this up, basically we have 15 semis of equipment that we bring into each single arenas. We have one of those semis for costumes only. We have over $1 million worth of costumes. It's 2,500 pieces of costumes that are all handmade for each single performers.
At any one time, 22 Cirque du Soleil shows like this one are going on all around the world. Over the years, 100 million people in 300 cities in over 40 countries on 6 different continents have seen one of these shows.
If someone comes to see the show for the first time, they're going to be blown away. They're going to see music, acrobatics, dancing, acting, singing. It's like going to Broadway, a gymnastics meet, and everything all in one.
The cast of the show includes Olympic athletes, martial artists, people who played competitive sports, and professional dancers like Mark. So how does Cirque find these amazing performers? After coming up with the theme of the show, creators scour the planet looking for someone who has the skills required to execute the stunts.
Then we'll hire the best people in every single discipline required. We will go around the world and get the best person to do this job. So not only do they have to excel in their craft, but they also have to match in personalities and in ideas with the main creator of the shows.
Mark Ward is one of the people Cirque recruited.
I had a full career as a ballet dancer when I received a call from Cirque du Soleil, and they were looking for a specific type dancer with acrobatic capabilities.
Tanya Burka performs this routine in the silks. She's probably not the first person who comes to mind when you think of a Cirque du Soleil performer, though. She's an MIT graduate. and her parents thought she'd work for NASA someday. This isn't quite NASA, but Tanya says her studies at MIT actually help her here too.
It's funny. In the end, I took a lot of my aspects of that personality into this job, because with the silks, a lot of the idea in the end is that you come up with your own ways of moving in the fabric, and in order to create the figures and the big dynamic drops and everything, it winds up coming down to engineering. Where do I put the fabric? Okay, if I do this, is it safe? Is it consistent? So in that sense, my little math brain really came in handy.
Another thing audience members don't tend to think much about is how long it takes for each cast member to put on the makeup that transforms them into their character. Each of these performers is given a pattern to follow to create their specific look, and they spend hours a day making that transformation.
So I've been doing almost 2 hours of makeup for almost 20 years now. No, it's because it does take 2 hours every day. It's my time to unwind. You know, I meditate, I think about things or what I need to do, other work. It's just my time of just kind of zoning out. It is something that I have to do every day, so I have to make it enjoyable. I have to think of like airbrushing. So it's a lot of blending, and it's also very difficult because I am brown, I am black, and trying to blend so many colors into a black face is not very easy.
Despite the fact that these performers have been doing this show thousands of times, Mark has done it more than 6,500 himself, each performer still works hard to make every single show better than the one before. This stage is set up behind the stage the audience sees, and each of these performers practices every single day.
We train all the time so that we're at the tip-top shape, acrobatically as well as mentally and physically. So for myself, I train 3 or 4 times a week at the gym. I have rehearsals here, and then I have my 8 to 10 shows depending on where we are.
Cirque du Soleil values qualities like passion. Everyone here has a passion for what they do, whether you're an electrician, an acrobat, a singer, an assistant artistic director. We all love what we do. We care a lot about what we do. That's why we are able to uphold the standards that we're known for.
We're details fanatics, and I think that's what makes our shows so amazing. Well, every single act, like Eric is training behind us, he's great at what he does, but he still wants to push it a little bit. He might want to try something different.
After each performance, they hold post-show meetings.
Well, basically we go over what the show, the stuff that were good, the stuff that were bad, the stuff that we can make better. And every show is different, and every little mistake is mentioned.
Of the 100 jobs needed to make this show happen, 50 are on stage and 50 are behind the scenes. One of the behind-the-scenes jobs is fixing the food to feed everyone. Making that even more complicated is the fact that many of these performers have dietary restrictions and food preferences, in addition to the fact that they come from 20 different countries and enjoy eating things from their homeland. Brandon Martin is the catering manager. So technically, how many different dishes are you making at any one meal?
We gotta have to have a variety. There's particular dishes that they like, so we bring them back, but definitely switch it up all the time. For instance, tonight we have homemade gnocchi, Swedish meatballs, and Hungarian chicken, so it's kind of a variety. You know, there's only a few people lactose intolerant, so we make meals to help them out, and it's vegetarian, so we make tofu dishes. It's pretty easy.
Planning these meals takes an amazing amount of organization and pre-planning. To cut down on shipping costs, Brandon says he tries to use as many local products as possible.
We also go to local purveyors, butchers, seafood markets.
As we said earlier in the story, each country has its preferences. Some can be pretty easy to accommodate, even if they are a little out of the ordinary.
Might get in trouble with the Russians. They love mayonnaise, and they put it on everything. And these guys are, in the best shape, in the world, but they love their mayonnaise.
Bridget Barril is the transport and lodging coordinator. It's her job to make sure all 100 employees have plane tickets, buses, hotel rooms, lunches they like to eat on the journey, and any other transportation needed to get them to their destination.
It is tricky depending on where we finish one leg and we start another one. It can be tricky. During my vacation, I follow the weather report from all over the place kind of religiously because I'm always afraid there's going to be a snowstorm somewhere and nobody can come back.
Every 10 weeks, she has to get all 100 employees back to their homeland for a 2-week break. And of course, they want to get home as soon as possible.
It can mean a lot of travel. We do have some people that, because of where they live, they will travel almost 2 full days before being home.
It's not unusual for many of these performers to have been on the road for 8, 10, or even 14 years. So how do they do it?
It's an amazing lifestyle, but it's not for everyone. And you have to love it. If you don't love it, you don't stay.
You meet so many interesting people. You get to work with people from all over the world, and I really appreciate that. Since day one, I've felt so lucky to be here.
I'm very passionate about what I'm doing.
We're in a new city every week, and it's cities we might otherwise never have gone to. And so for our days off, it's like we get to explore amazing things. Every morning that I wake up, I'm so jazzed. I hope to keep going until they pull me off stage.
If you'd like to see the show for yourself, Quidam is coming to Wichita's Intrust Bank Arena for 7 performances, January 2nd through the 6th. You can get tickets by calling 866-553-2457 or by going to this website.